Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am the Inconsequential Runner, and we are doing another week in review. We did that last week with Debs. We have Coach Mark back with us today. I'm so lucky to have people do this with me. Coach Mark, welcome back. How are you going?
I'm good, thanks, Darcy. Yeah, I've just been for my morning run, so yeah, I'm in the sort of running mode. I feel guilt free now. I can sit here and talk about it.
That is the best thing about morning runs in my world. Once you've got it done in the morning, you're good for the rest of the day. Everything else is a win. You don't have that thing in the back of your head telling you need to do it might be a slow, long run in the evening. Once you've got it done in the morning, it is great
Yeah,
to get done. How exciting a time is this? We have just had the London Diamond League, so let's talk about that. We've got the Olympics coming up. I've got some new products that have landed that I'll talk about the reviews we've got coming up. Coach Mark, is there anything else you wanted to delve into? I know we're both going to talk about the Diamond League, and I think you've got a tip
yeah,
for us. Is that pretty much the show for today?
yeah. Well, that's all I've got to offer.
It's always a lot. And the tip, we love your tips, Coach Mark. So we'll do that again right at the end. So if you can't wait, jump to the end of the video, watch the tip, come back to the start if you like. But it's such a good way to close. Let's start right now with the Diamond League. And as we do, the London event of it. And let's go through the highlights. It's got to start, from my mind, with Femke Bol. She does it again. It wasn't a sub 51, 400 meters. It was 51.3, touch over, but it looked like she was taking it a little bit easier in that last 50. She is looking solid the whole way. I cannot wait for the Femke Sydney showdown. It is going to be huge.
It's just quite unique, really. I can't think of another event at the Olympics, a track and field where you've got really just two people. It doesn't look like there's a third one, unless there's someone who just hasn't, showed their face at all. There's just two of them way out on their own. They haven't met yet, and they're so far ahead of everyone else. So when they do meet, it's just going to be fantastic. And they won't meet till the final, I imagine, given they see the heats and semis.
Yeah.
So, yeah, all on, really. I mean, you've probably still got to say Sydney's the favourite because she's about half a second ahead of Femke Bol. But as you say, neither of them have been tested. So,
no.
who knows what they've got left.
And the thing going for Femke, you're right, Sydney is, I think it's a third of a second now, because Femke ran the 50.95 to Sydney's 50.65, and ran that more recently. But as you say, that's still a big chunk of change between the two. But the fact that Femke's is more recent, I mean, we could do the whole show just on this. Cannot wait. And the 800 meters in men has looked phenomenal in the last Diamond Leagues. And we've just had the same in the women with Hodgkinson and Ricky right on her heels running.
I know.
Yeah, another best, fastest in history with the in the 1 minute 54.61. Woo, so 800 meters, both men's and women, so enticing.
It's just gone crazy. Both men and women, the times have just gone absolutely crazy. So yeah, I mean, how do you even say who's going to be in the final? It's a lottery. Just quickly, thinking back to the men's 800 at Monaco. I mean, to show how crazy that was, how crazy the times are. Marco Arop, who's the world champion, he's the reigning world champion. Yeah. He looked like he had a bad race. I was watching, I think, he's not looking in good form. He faded down the straight. I think he came sixth.
He came, and he was first, leading. He was leading with 150 to go. Massive fade. You're right. So back to you, Coach Mark, in terms of the point you're making.
But his time. So bearing in mind he was the world champion, his time was 0.08 of a second off his best. So you can't really say he's out of form if he's
No.
800s of a second off his best when he was world champ.
Yep.
And fifth place was Ben Patterson of Britain. So again, he was fifth in that race. He was third in the world champs
Yep.
last year, and he broke his PB by 2 seconds. Two
Look,
seconds faster than when he was a bronze medalist of the world champs. He was fifth in a, not even a championship event. I mean, cool.
it's
Crazy.
just gone up
And-
next
and, yeah.
level. Yep.
Yeah.
My baseline, the person I've kept an eye on is the French runner in the 800, Robert. So
Wow.
yeah, and he stands out because his body shape's a little bit different from the others. Bit shorter, bit stout, chunkier
Yeah.
muscle. He's been running seconds and thirds in terms of placing up to the last month, and now he's running 6th, 7th, and 8th place, and his speed hasn't changed. It's like there's this group within 800 that's just found something,
Yeah.
and just gone woof ahead.
Yes.
So, it's and the mindset has changed. This has almost become almost take what I'm going to say with a pinch of salt, an all-out sprint now. There's
Yeah.
not much of a lull, and there's not a fade. You know, you used to look at the big positive split, but now it's, you know, the splits. Mark, I'll throw back to you. You should have the last word because you run the 800 meters and you know the 800 meters inside out. So last word in terms of what you're seeing in the 800 meters for men and women.
You're right. I mean, as you say, see, championship 800 meters often is not the quite tactical affairs. And the first lap was cat and mouse, and then it started to wind up. But Rudisha changed all that, just blasting from the gun. And I think, you know, and AROC does the same. And I think someone's going to do the same. It's just going to be, it's going to be a fast time. I'd be surprised if it would be, well, actually, you never know. I know I wouldn't even want to put a limit on the time, actually. There's so many people capable of it. I mean, so if someone blasts it, there'll be a lot of people to go with them. Yeah. So it's if someone wants to put it on the line by leading everyone. Which is why championships are so good. No paces, no pace lights.
Yep.
So much on the line. It's not like a Diamond League where you can, you know, if things don't go to plan, you go, well, there's another Diamond League next week, so that's all right. This comes along every 4 years, so so much on the line, and everyone is trying to be at their absolute best they've ever been on this one day. So that's what makes it so good.
Let's keep rolling through the highlights in London because there are a couple of others I want to talk about. Before I do, we talk running, but a quick shout out to Hamish Kerr in the high jump, bringing that home again. That was so great to see. You had McCartney in the pole vault, a solid fifth. So great Kiwi representation. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was the 1500. You had 3 Australians in the top 6. So great to see Swain have a great race. Ollie Hoare wins it, and he's been bubbling under. He wins it. And you had Laros. Now, why am I mentioning Laros? Because he finished sub 3 minutes 50, and he fell. He tripped on the track. Is that the first runner ever to trip, get up, and run a sub 350? I said 1500, sorry, in the mile.
I know, the mile. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I knew what you meant, though.
Yeah. What did you take from the mile, and any other highlights you saw in London that you want to talk about, Coach Mark?
Yeah, well, how disappointing for the British fans, because their 2 top guys who are both in the Olympics in the 1500, they chipped in about the first. Well, it was as soon as they hit the bend, wasn't it? First 10 meters, really.
Yep.
But Laros got up, and in fact the commentators thought he was out of the race, didn't they? Oh, they were actually saying, oh, he's not in there. I think because he was trying to make his way back through the pack, and he almost won it. He almost won the whole race. I don't think that's ever been done. Someone's fallen over and run sub 350 mile. So he's got to be in contention. He's actually running better than Ingebrigtsen at the same age.
Yeah.
So he. You know, you got to think in a final with he's got a fast finish like that. He's going to be in the mix. Great to see Hoare run well.
Yeah.
I guess there were people missing, but even so, it's a good confidence booster for him because he's been sort of improving all season. It's going to be a cracker, isn't it? The 1500. Yeah.
Look, anyone watching the Diamond League, these are elite runners. You know they are. But watch their running styles. They are so different. And their body shapes, even within an event. Like Stewie McSwain, watch his head. When he starts to hurt, he looks down, he looks up, he looks to the side, he looks straight, he looks down. It's a peculiar head movement. And the winner, Matthew Hudson Smith, for the 400 meters from Great Britain, really arched back, barrel chested. You wouldn't pick it. Where am I going with this? What I'm saying to people is don't evaluate the way you run too much, where you become dismissive of, you're not built for it or something. What we're seeing is very different body types running in very different styles at elite levels. So don't be dismissive of the way you run, because just look at the elite and you see this range of different types, like Robert that we've talked about, and
Short guy,
Matthew Hudson Smith. So, Coach Mark, I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, but I'm just saying to people, don't judge yourself. I
agree.
Yeah. Okay.
People have been trying to pigeonhole different types, but for years saying, okay, this is the ideal type. A big tall guy is that's your 800 meter runner. Then Seb Coe came along, who was 5'9". He's smashed the world record, and then another big tall guy takes it from him and go, okay. And then Sajati, he's not huge. So there is no type, as you were saying. So
yeah. So anyone watching, don't limit yourself, don't judge yourself, just run and just get out of it what you want to get out of it, because you will. Okay, last couple of things from me. You had Dana Asher-Smith and Nita in the women's Great Britain team, the 4x100, won it, backed up to do the 200s, and they came 3rd and 4th. So maybe it was a bridge too far, but I expected more out of them in the 200s, but they are both looking good. But with Gabriel Thomas storming home in the 200, another thing I'll talk about is the 100 men's. Those of you that are watching the sprint thing on Netflix, I'm not. I'm finding it a little bit too rich for me, a bit too much ego and all of that.
Yeah.
But if it appeals to you, watch it. Great. But the Hughes versus Lyles, there's been a bit of words between them, and there was only one lane between them in the 100-meter sprint. But Lyles won it in 9.81, and Hughes, I think, was 4th, 5th.
Yes,
big gap.
So you see when he's behind it. Yeah.
So those were the other highlights for me. Anything else, Coach Mark, that you wanted to talk about from London?
Oh, there were so many. It exceeded my expectations, actually. But I guess these are people. I mean, a week or two out from the Olympics, they're all people at their peak, aren't they? Women's 400 meters, 48.5.
Try and wrap your head around the numbers. It's amazing. It's amazing. So okay, we've got the Olympics coming up. So and the qualifying through to the final has changed for some events. So Coach Mark, I'll throw to you to talk us through the repechage. What are we looking for? What do we see in terms of the heats? How does the repechage work? And the athlete's path through to the final, and for what events does this apply? This is new to me. So everybody, ears up. Coach Mark, take us through it. This is exciting.
Yeah, it's brand new for running. So in the past, in the heats, you would have say the first 5 in each heat automatically qualified to the next round, and then they would take the next 4 or whatever fastest times would go through as well. And that was always thought to be pretty unfair, because if you're in the first heat, you have no idea what sort of time to run. Bearing in mind 1,500 meters, for example, they're often tactical races. They're not like 100 meters where you're all in a lane going flat out the whole way. The people in the last race, they could go, okay, well, if we just make sure our races is this, faster than the other heats, most of us are going to go through, so that was very unfair. So that's one of the reasons I bought this, and plus to try to spice it up a bit. So what they've done is, again, they'll say the first 5, whatever it is, will qualify immediately from the heat. And then everyone who didn't get in those automatic positions goes into another round, which is called a repechage, which you'd be familiar with in rowing. And then they all, I don't know, the first however many of those will then go through the next round.
Gotcha, perfect.
So it's basically everyone at the Olympic, everyone competing at the in those events. It's from 200 meters to 1500 meters. Just those events.
1500. Okay.
Yeah, they will get at least 2 races, which is good for someone who is going. So we've had Kiwi athletes in the past, for example, who've run well but haven't made it past the heat, and that's their Olympics gone. So they get another go. But the disadvantage is, you've got someone who might just miss out, but then they've got to run another round. That's surely got to disadvantage them.
Yeah.
When it comes to the later ones having run 4 rounds instead of 3 rounds. So I don't know how that's going to go. It'll be exciting. I mean, because it'll be very cutthroat, won't it? The repechage, but wait and see. It hasn't had a lot of support from any athletes that I've seen, but I don't think that mattered. They put it through anyway.
I think, it'll be interesting because the athletes that will have to really give us their voice will be those in the repechage. The automatic qualifiers, it won't affect them. Those that are in the repechage, I think, this is my guess, most of them will take it because it does give them the second opportunity as opposed to Hohenheim or... So those are the athletes it supports. And I think, in the heat of the battle, they'll go, no, I'll take it. Because, the last thing, like you say, Coach Mark, you might be involved in one of the early and very tactical 1500s. So even though you didn't automatic qualify, you can't qualify really on fastest time because it was that tactical. Your time in that heat was so slow that the other heats will be able to just trump you, even though they might not be better runners, certainly over the previous year. This way, everybody gets a fair chance and they're competing against each other in the repechage. I think they'll love it because you would take a second chance over no chance, right? This is
totally. And those who are good enough won't have to do it anyway. Those who
exactly.
you would think the medal contenders won't be involved in that anyway.
Yep.
Unless they've botched up their heat. It's only in the heat, by the way, not in the semis.
Yes.
They do this.
Yeah. No, Hey, thank you for explaining that, Coach Mark. Looking forward to the repechage. Right, what else did I have? Okay, let me talk about, I should have said this right at the start. I found out how to turn off the adverts on this channel. So we don't make any revenue on this channel because we're certainly under 500 subscribers for a start. So please, if you are watching this, you haven't subscribed, do us a favor. It helps us out. It does help us out. Get us over the 500. Hit subscribe. Even if you don't watch us that regularly, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Hit subscribe. Costs nothing to do it. Just leave it in the background. But it helps us. Helps us. So thank you. Adverts are turned off. Found out how to turn that off. So future viewings of this, you won't get interrupted at the 10 or 20-minute mark or whatever it is. I don't know what it is. I pay premium, so all my adverts are off. But for those of you that haven't, I've turned the adverts off so you don't get interrupted. Right, a couple of products that I've just had arrive. Those of you watching the channel know that I've got the Super Blast 2. I love the Super Blast 1. That was my favorite shoe of all time. For what it offers. The Super Blast 2 is even a touch better. So thank you, Essex, for not messing up a perfect formula. So easy to do. How often is the sequel worse than the original? Not in this case. In fact, I cannot wait until another colorway comes out in this. So then I know which shoe I used the previous day and I can rotate my Super Blasts. So another update to come on this. Over 100Ks in this puppy now. I love it so much. I'm not allowed to wear it to bed anymore. That's been banned, but I've got 100 Ks out of it on the road. So update coming on that. And then to complement that, the Edge, I've got the Edge over the Sky. So I will give feedback on that and I can compare it to the Vaporfly 2 and 3. which I've got, so I can do a bit of a mix on those. The other two products I've had arrive, never tried this before, don't know what it's like. I'm going to try and give you a review. Sustain Gum, no plastic involved, so it comes in a paper bag. It's got caffeine in it, so 50 milligrams of caffeine per mint piece of gum. So I'll try those, see how they go. I will try them, and you know this, on a training run or something like a park run. You don't try things for the first time on a serious run unless you're absolutely dying and you got 5K to go. Then try whatever it takes, maybe then.
Whatever.
but Sustain Gum, and those of you again that follow the channel, you know I am a fan of Gouda in this particular type of glass. This one's called Extreme Dumpster Diving. The reason why I bought this one, wait for this color, it is pink, is for morning runs and evening runs when the sun, there we go, when the sun is well, not up. So I often, when I was road cycling, I'd run with ride with yellow lenses, because it would really bring out the white and the black, differentiate it. So I found it much easier to see, and I like having something over my eyes, because I just like having my eyes, protected by flying bugs and all of that sort of stuff. So I've gone with this pink lens, and I'm going to test it at those hours where it's dark or the light's just starting to either come up or fade, and give feedback on that. All right, so that's what's coming up in terms of the products. Let's go to the tip, because I don't want to run out of time before this. Coach Mark, handing you over to the tip. I know what you're going to say, and this is a good tip, because we talked about it just before we came on this video live. Coach Mark, handing it to you to share one of what I think is one of the best and most underrated tips with you, Coach Mark.
Well, this is a tip we talked about many months ago, actually on a previous video. But what was interesting is I actually got to put this into practice. So I've been out of racing for 3 years. So I'm a bit rusty when it comes to tactics and that again. And so I'm starting to try to walk the talk, I guess. But the tip is, if you're in a race and, sort of, it's normally in the second half of the race, probably. So this particular race I was in was a 4-lap race, 8K in total. 4 laps of 2K. The third lap of 2K, when you're thinking, okay, I've been going quite a while. I've still got quite a while to go. I'm running along. I'm in this kind of a tempo. I've been kind of in this for a while. There's these people here up in front of me, a few, 50 meters or so. There's people behind me. We're all pretty happy in our place. We're just going to try to, and then what happens then? You start thinking a bit negative or complacent. And what happened to me? You then find actually those guys who were 50 meters in front of me now, they're 70 meters in front of me, and I feel like I'm getting slower. And I've still got a lap and a half to go. So the tip is this: if you're in that situation and you feel like you're gradually slowing down, before you give into this, try speeding up. Now that sounds pretty simple just to say that. It's not always easy to do it, but there's a lot of advantages in that, and not really any disadvantage, because you're slowing down anyway. So if it doesn't work out, I'm not talking about suddenly launching into a sprint. You just could have upped the tempo slightly and see, okay, how does that feel? So that's what I did basically. I thought, well, I'm gonna try running a little bit quicker. So the guys about 70 meters in front of me, I actually deliberately didn't look at them. I sort of stared at the ground and just put in a slightly harder effort for 2 minutes. And then I looked up again, and they were only like 30 meters in front of me. I thought, well, I'll just keep this going. You actually feel better, because I felt more positive because I was catching people. It was no harder. It was no harder than how I was running before, really. And in fact, it was probably easier to deal with because I felt a bit more aggressive as well, because you feel a bit more like you're in racing mode. But anyway, this carried on. So I passed these people, made up ground, and actually put about 30 seconds on those people who were that far in front of me in the last lap. Now I could have easily just given in and just stayed at that spot, And that would have been fine, but I'm glad I gave it a go. And I say to everyone out there, it's worth giving it a go. You got nothing to lose. And what often happens is it just sticks you into a new, slightly different tempo, scratches the record, and yeah.
Perfect. And look, I've tried it, and for me, it's just about making that one decision to just go. I call it a click up. You go a distinct click up, but it's just a click up, as you say, not a hard sprint. And for 2 minutes, see how you feel. And it's surprising actually how good, or sometimes even better, you feel running faster. So you're running faster, but you're actually suffering a bit less, or you're suffering the same, but you're getting more out of it. So it feels better. And especially those people in front that come back. Coach Mark, I think you're absolutely right. People aren't aware of the strategy. It changes your mindset, it changes your focus, and you get more out of yourself. And it's about making that decision. But yeah, people aren't aware of this unless you share it. So yeah, thank you for sharing that tip, Coach Mark. I'm reticent to say this because I've only got data on a couple of times that it's happened. But when I've gone a click up, my heart rate's actually, even though I'm going faster, my heart rate's come down a little bit, which is sort of
interesting.
Yeah, it's counter. As I say, I've only got a couple of events where that data has shown that. So probably the sample size isn't big enough to say there's something in there. But the very fact that it's come down with me going faster from that moment where I made that decision, there's something there. There's something there. Mark, thanks for sharing that tip.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's round this out. The Olympics, cannot wait. We'll catch up soon and we'll start to do a review maybe of the first week of the Olympics. There's so many good events coming up. So what I'll do to start to wrap is I will say that I am in Manchester at the end of this month. End of August, and really early September in Amsterdam. So if anyone watching this happens to be over there and you want to go for a morning run with me and you're close to Amsterdam or in the middle of Manchester, in the heart of Manchester, drop me a line. Love to catch up. If you want to catch up with Coach Mark about coaching, Coach Mark's details are in the show notes. Just click on that drop down box under this video, and Coach Mark's email is in there. Drop him a line about having Coach Mark coach you for either to become a better runner, or if you've got an event coming up and you need someone to structure it for you. That's it from me. Coach Mark, any last words from you?
No, not really. No, you've summed it up. Can't wait for the Olympics. Can't wait. How I'm going to fit in the rest of my life around it's going to be the hard bit.
I know. The rest of my life just goes to pot. It just becomes running and Olympics. And yeah, when I fully retire, I'm just going to watch one Olympics end to end.
Yes.
Like a football World Cup and stuff like that. So, all right, Coach Mark, thank you so much for joining us on this glorious Wellington Day. Catch up again soon. Everybody else that's been watching, you know what to do. If there was something in this that made you smile just for a moment, please hit like, hit subscribe. Really helps us out, and we appreciate it. We love it, and we will catch you in the next one. See you later, everybody. Thank you. Cheers, Coach Mark.
See ya.